Annie Krall, who is live from the BMW Championship, Olympia Fields Country Club. Annie, I was watching a lot of this today, and John Rahm played a lot like John Howell today. What happened?
I mean, that is a fabulous, let's say, comparison, if you will, because it was not John Rahm's day at all, Mr. John Howell. Shocking showing by John Rahm. He hasn't had a birdie putt yet. He hasn't had a single birdie on his card the entire day. This is only the third time in his entire career that he's had a non-major championship round with no birdie. It is jarring, considering he's the number one player in the FedEx Cup rankings right now.
Well, he just looked really frustrated. And you need that fiery Spanish personality of his. And look, he was playing with Scotty Scheffler, as you know. You're there. I was watching on TV. They both look very disgusted today.
No, and it's funny you say that because you just see John hanging his head and he's putting his face in his hands. And Scotty Scheffler, it's funny, I'm talking to a lot of fans out here, and Scotty Scheffler seems to be the fan favorite for a lot of people. We're talking about Rory McIlroy. I'm asking about other players, and everyone's like, oh, Scotty's got this. Scotty's got this in the bag. And it's quite interesting to see kind of that duopoly, you're not wrong, between John Rahm and how Scotty's doing right now.
Talking here with Annie Krall. She is live from the BMW Championship at the historic Olympia Fields Country Club. 2 U.S. Opens, a pair of PGA Championships, Senior Open, U.S. Amateur, Women's PGA Championship, the 2020 BMW Championship. Western Open was there in 1920, 27, 33, 68, and 71. A lot of big events. Have you toured the facility? I know yesterday you had not seen the entire facility. Have you today?
Yes, I've certainly walked around today, John. It's been gorgeous. I did spend maybe too much time in the merchandise store, was walking around there. Again, that's kind of built off of the actual Olympia Fields Country Club itself, but I don't know if it's a Black Friday comparison or if it's a Friday of the BMW Championship comparison, but that merchandise tent was swarms, had people kind of ripping off different gray jackets, different pink jackets. But here at Olympia Fields, the country club, I'm kind of sitting in one of the middle areas that has the Normandy Club as well. If you hear any of that background noise, it's just absolutely gorgeous. This place was built, at the start of the 1900s. It is absolutely stunning. I know, John, you spend a lot of time here, I wish I could spend more time here. That's kind of the issue of the day for me.
Well, I haven't spent a lot of time there, but the few times that I've been there, I've really enjoyed it. The integrity of the North Course has been kept exactly as it was designed back in 1923. And the men's locker room alone is 10,000 square feet. And we were talking a bit about this yesterday. It's legendary for its distinctive rows of membership categories, including an entire section reserved for clergymen. And they have their poker tables set up there, card tables, and they're like little neighborhoods. It's like a big city in there made up of little neighborhoods, kind of much like Chicago itself. So the conditions, the weather looks terrific. What is the rough like today? How are the greens today? What do you think?
Ooh, very different song and dance today, John, as opposed to what it was yesterday. Obviously, it's been a pretty rainy week. I don't tell it to anyone who's been living in Chicago this entire week. Monday, Tuesday, these guys are trying to have practice rounds, and it's just torrential rain. And then all of yesterday morning, 2-hour rain delay, trying to play through that. Rough is just thick as nobody's business. Today, sunshine, blasting through the trees, absolutely gorgeous, comfortable 75 degrees. I keep taking my jacket on and off depending on if I'm inside or outside. I think I got a little bit of a sunburn on my shoulders, but that's my problem, not yours, John. And it's just been a fabulous, gorgeous day. Everyone's walking around happy to kick off the weekend kind of at Olympia Fields. But kind of to your point about how does that impact the rough, how does that impact the game, it was funny. I was talking to, it was Rory McIlroy yesterday, and we were asking him, how does this impact with the rain and matting things down? And he said sort of in the interview at the end of his round, I'm going to be more aggressive with these drives because if it lands in the rough, it's not going anywhere. So he's honestly not getting penalized. A lot of these players are who hit the ball so far because if they hit it in the rough, it's going to bounce maybe twice at most and then just die. So that's kind of the give and the take that you have when it's a wet course like it is right now.
That's great insight from both you and Rory because I was watching these guys today, Rahm, Scheffler, Rory, all just drilling them right into the trees, but they seem to be able to get, some miraculous recovery shots, and they're up there still in regulation, and then two putt for a par at worst, so that, I guess that's how they're going to play the game.
They just have to because it's too soft. You have to take advantage of it. If it's a hot, dry course, and again, August in Chicago, we easily could have had an entire tournament like that. For anyone who's a golfer who's one of our listeners who's played when it's very dry and it's been very hot for the entire week, you can't putt easily. You tap your ball and it goes rolling past the hole. That's not what these guys are dealing with right now. They're playing with some very soft greens. They're playing with some very forgiving roughs. It's just been really interesting to watch because they're coming in with some 67, 66, 65. It's some good scores coming out of this entire course on the North Course for Olympia Fields Country Club.
Are the national media members, are they polite to you, or do they shove you out of the way?
No, they hear that I'm from WLS Radio, and everyone's very kind because they know the Big 89, so I will take advantage of the legacy that is our radio station every day of the week as one of our new radio news anchors and reporters. But it's kind of to your point, John, I'm talking to people who are from Sweden. I'm talking to people who are from Japan. This is a big tournament. Chicago is the spot because you have the top 50 players in the world descending upon Olympia Fields. I'm very lucky to be one of the local Chicago stations covering it, no question.
And I think it bears repeating. If you're thinking about going out tomorrow or Sunday, probably the best way to get there is to take Metra. When the club was open, they put it in that location specifically because it was right on the railroad line for people to get to from the downtown area. But even if you live in the suburbs, instead of fighting your way down there, parking and taking a shuttle bus, it may be as convenient in the long run to take Metra into the city at the Ogilvy or Union Station, wherever, switch over and come out to Olympia Fields that way.
I can't recommend enough taking the public transportation. It was funny, I was leaving yesterday, John, after you and I had one of our many lovely conversations about what's going on here at the course, and I'm pretty sure I had a player driving in a very gorgeous BMW behind me just packed in with the rest of us because there was so much heavy traffic leaving the Olympia Fields course. So not only to your point of getting here and the convenience of the public transportation with the Metra, getting out of here after a very competitive round of golf is not going to be the easiest picnic in the world.
Yeah, and it's the Metro station's within walking distance, correct?
Absolutely. You could probably just stroll on over and you'd be over in 5 minutes at most, probably from the Metro.
All right, Annie, enjoy the rest of the afternoon.
We will keep an eye on the scores.